Welcome, welcome, welcome. This is you are joining episode 15 of Let's Talk Immigration. Today, I'm going to go over some of the things that we've been up to as a law firm, and then I'm going to go to question and answers. Okay. We were going to have a special guest that was one of our plaintiffs, but I don't see him showing up yet. So maybe he'll come later. Okay. So first thing I want to talk about is the State Department and this tweet I saw that they sent today. Apparently, the consulate in Guadalajara interviewed 1,500 tourist visa applicants on Saturday. Okay, Guadalajara is not a consulate that does immigrant visa interviews. So you can't blame Guadalajara for prioritizing non-immigrants over immigrants. However, the consulate in Guadalajara is part of the State Department. And I can blame Secretary Blinken for his resource allocation that can cause such disparate outcomes. I don't know if that's the right word. Outcomes that are different, that shouldn't be different. Like, for example, I don't know if you all know about the visa backlog report, but there are over 400,000 documentarily qualified visa applicants awaiting interviews, immigrant visa interviews. That number went up from November to January. Okay. I think it went up like 8%. So they are losing ground while the immigrant visa documentarily qualified backlog continues to grow. You have the U.S. State Department breaking records and doing some phenomenal, unbelievable things. Look at this line. I mean, look at that. Crazy. 1,500 interviews in one day. Look at all those windows. It looks like an airport. They're doing such a great job. Okay. Second thing I wanted to talk about, Navid versus Blinken, which is a lawsuit that we filed on behalf of 10 Pakistani American couples waiting to get their spouse from Pakistan to the U.S., waiting to get them immigrant visas, to get them interviews. I am working this week on our opposition to the government's motion to dismiss, which is due Saturday. While I am working on that, we fortunately had some press for that case. I see there's a little banner there. That's great. I will share my screen again and show you what happened. Elizabeth Troval is a journalist with the Houston Chronicle, and she interviewed one of these couples, Hamid and Harim, who graciously agreed to participate in this story so that we could let everybody know that U.S. Embassy Islamabad has some problems. Okay, so it was a really good article. It really did a good job of talking about what the impacts of this family separation is like on couples. Basically, they're having to, live through video calls and virtual relationship. It's just very difficult. Look at that little teddy bear. So sad. There is also an audio version of this case. I'm going to go ahead and share it and play it because I think it's cool. Let me see here. It was on The World, which is an NPR program. So everybody, let's listen to NPR's coverage yesterday on Valentine's Day of our Navid versus Blinken suit.
Remember, though, not everyone has a chance to be with their significant other on Valentine's Day. Backlogs for visa interviews at U.S. embassies across the world are keeping thousands of newlyweds from starting a new life together here in the U.S. The Houston Chronicle's Elizabeth Troval got in touch with one couple from Pakistan. They've gotten creative with ways of keeping their love alive after years of visa delays.
It's still dark at 6:30 a.m. in College Station, Texas. Hamid ul Haq chuckles while video chatting with his wife, Harim Salman, as he lays with his laptop. His wife is just getting off work at her university job in Karachi, Pakistan, 8,000 miles away.
It's hardly like a proper, like a married life, because you're always so far apart, and especially with COVID, I think we couldn't meet for almost 2 years.
Salman video chats from her mom's apartment, lit up with late afternoon sun. Most of their 3.5 years of marriage have been like this, virtual. But they've found ways to make it work.
There's not Netflix watch party together to watch movies together.
They have Friday tea time. They play online games, Scrabble, Ludo.
Ludo, it's like a super Pakistani Indian game. Everybody here knows it.
Haq was living in the US when they met. Salman's cousin introduced them online. Once they got married, they thought a life together was imminent. But long delays in visa processing have put a real strain on their first years of marriage. Salman has even had to say no to jobs because she wasn't sure of the timeline of her visa.
You're living this constant state of uncertainty. And Hamid and I, since we've been married, we've, lived together in person with each other for less than 6 months.
That's why the couple is suing the State Department.
It should not take 3 to 5 years for a U.S. citizen to petition their spouse to come to the USA. And it doesn't for most nationalities.
Immigration attorney Curtis Morrison is representing Haq, who is a U.S. citizen, and 9 others whose Pakistani spouses have faced long delays getting the U.S. Embassy in Islamabad to schedule consular interviews. Interviews that are one crucial step in the immigrant visa process.
The State Department is throttling immigration, and the way they're doing it is, oh, you're ready for an interview? That's nice. Wait in line.
The Islamabad embassy has some of the longest wait times, in part because they've taken on many Afghan cases after the U.S. embassy closed in Afghanistan. That's on top of the worldwide interview backlog of 400,000 cases.
Unfortunately, it seems to be relatively widespread that it's taking several months to get an interview.
Patrick Pettibon is a Houston area immigration lawyer who is not involved in this lawsuit. But he says his firm has also considered legal action to hurry up interviews.
Part of it can be attributed to the pandemic and backlogs that resulted from most of the embassies and consulates being shut down.
But Pettibon says since the embassies have reopened, some backlogs are continuing to grow.
It does appear to be at least partially due to how they're deciding to allocate resources.
In other words, the U.S. is fast-tracking some interviews, like with tourists and students, while letting people immigrating to the U.S. wait in line. In College Station, after Salman and Haq say goodbye on their daily video call, Haq looks defeated. It's been an emotional week.
My dad had a stroke Sunday morning, and I think that really was hard, very difficult. I think I cried a lot, but it's hard.
He's been facing his dad's critical illness without his wife or any other family nearby.
So yeah, that's it. I've been in the hospital for the past 2 days, and I have friends who visited, but there's no family. Family is actually the one who's most invested in this. So,
but amid the despair, a glimmer of hope. His wife finally got word that her consular interview is scheduled for March.
I don't know what to feel at this point, but just one day at a time. That's how it is.
The couple is a step closer to being reunited as a family in Texas. Thousands more remain in limbo. For The World, I'm Elizabeth Troval in Houston.
Wasn't that great? I think she just did it great. I just was really impressed with that journalist's presentation, both in the article and in the radio story. She really captured what's going on with a lot of separated families. So that's what's going on in Navid. I'm working on the opposition to the government's motion to dismiss. I'm going to send a draft to plaintiffs to review probably Friday. And then also, I think the State Department is probably realizing that people are starting to figure out what's going on in Islamabad, right? It's on NPR. Sophisticated Americans that work in DC listen to NPR on their way back to work. I can guarantee you that a good number of the people that work at the State Department heard that story. Okay, so what else is going on in our firm? We've got a lot of people contacting us about interested in seeking asylum. Morrison Urena does do that. I need you to talk with Raphael Urena, though, my law partner, because he's actually more of an expert with that and better equipped to talk to you about what's next and your next steps. I have been spending a lot of time talking to people about mandamus lawsuits, and they're really hot right now because they work, okay? So especially mandamus lawsuits for people that are in AP. If you've already had an interview and they gave you that DS 5535 form or something, you definitely need a mandamus lawsuit because there's no way that delay is reasonable. The vetting for AP, for that security vetting or whatever, it just takes somebody in DC to go and it's done. So the idea that people wait around for that for months or years, and believe it or not, I have people that contact us that have been in AP since, during the Trump administration or 2021, and there's just no reason to wait. If you've had your interview, it's time for a mandamus lawsuit. So that's what we've been up to. Let me skip to your questions now, okay? Galia says, welcome back, sir. The same question as usual. What about the Court of Appeals decision? Not yet decided? We are so tired of waiting and waiting. Thank you for your response. Well, Galia, thank you for asking the question and answering the question. They have not decided yet. I agree. It's DV 2020. So, correct. They have not decided yet. Omar, hello. I am good, thank you. Fuad, hello. I'm sorry if I'm not saying your name correctly. DV 2020. Yay, go DV 2020. That's not a question, but I get you. Waiting on the appeal, the outcome of the appeal for DV 2020 selectees. Amar says, thanks for everything. Thank you. DV 2020. Yay. Fuad is a good luck plaintiff, DV 2021. No news. Raymond asked, what about DV 2020? Y'all, I'm not going to keep it a secret when the Circuit Court of Appeals issues their opinion, okay? And if their opinion is in our favor and not the government's, I'm going to dance. I'm going to get on my desk behind you and I'm going to be dancing. And so you will know. I mean, you'll get an email. We'll contact you, WhatsApp, Telegram, every way. We will definitely share that information when we get it. I'm not going to keep it from you. James, good evening. You told me you were going to join me and we sent you an email. I think maybe we didn't send it to the right place. Omar says, can I ask why these lawsuits give it to 3 judges recently? I saw that there were a lot of consolidated cases like us and had 1 judge. Is there a reason? Yes, Omar, there's a reason. When you file a lawsuit, it goes to 1 judge. It's a district court judge. When the district court judge issues an order, that order can be appealed to a 3-judge panel of the Circuit Court of Appeals. That is what has happened here. We were victorious in Ray, Good Luck, Gomez, and by extension, Mohammed Fong John Kennedy. Basically, the DV cases, we were victorious. What happened, though, I said Good Luck without saying Jacob. Jacob became part of Good Luck, so we were victorious, even though it was a long path. The Biden administration decided to appeal those orders to the Circuit Court of Appeals, and that's why 3 judges are reviewing the decision, okay? Otherwise, it would just be 1 judge if it was a district court level, but once it's appealed to the Circuit Court of Appeals, it's 3 judges that are overviewing. That's why there's 3. Save DV 2020. I agree. I'm just waiting for the outcome of the appeal. Billa says DV 21. What's up, lawyer? Well, Billa, when you just say DV 2021 and you don't say Good Luck and you don't say that you were a plaintiff, you were a selectee awaiting for one of the Ray versus Biden embassies, I have to say your journey's over, okay? The only way a journey continues for a DV 2021 selectee is if you were a Good Luck plaintiff or you could benefit from the Ray order and you're waiting for the outcome of the appeal. Ali says, how long one should wait before filing a writ of mandamus? Is there a minimum? Hold on. Hold that question just for a second. James, welcome. You're in the stream
Yeah,
now.
welcome.
Can you hear me okay?
Yeah.
Okay, let me wrap
Yeah,
up.
I hear you.
Let me wrap up this question and then I'm going to talk to you. So Ali says, how long should one wait for filing a writ of mandamus? Is there a minimum? It's a very interesting question because you could file a writ of mandamus against 2 different entities, actually. You could file it against USCIS if there's a delay at that process, or you could file it against State Department if there's a delay in that process. But there are 2 ways that you get a positive benefit. You could get a positive benefit from a writ of mandamus. One is the government decides to get us past the delay and make progress in order to make the case go away. The second way is you wait for a judge to give an order that compels the State Department to interview or adjudicate the visa application or the petition or whatever. What happens with the majority of mandamus lawsuits is the first outcome. To make the individual small little lawsuit go away, USCIS or the State Department give us what we're asking for. So the case law doesn't matter as much, okay? So how long one should wait really depends upon what kind of process they're doing, whether it's USCIS, whether it's State Department, whether it's before or after the interview. Contact me directly on that, okay? Okay, James. For our audience, you are the first plaintiff client who has joined on Let's Talk Immigration. Episode 15, we are breaking new ground. Oh, look, we have a banner that says, welcome, James. So tell everybody, what is your status? You're a plaintiff in one of our lawsuits, right? James?
Yeah, good luck.
You're a plaintiff in the Good Luck lawsuit. So you were a DV 2021.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I am a.
Oh no, we don't have the best internet connection. You went out there for a second. Man, I hope the internet starts working here again. Had a good question for you too. Well, let's give James a second to see if that starts working. He may need to leave and come back. I'll go ahead and do questions. Rayma says DV 2020, waiting for the answer of the appeal, waiting for the opinion on the appeal. Luna says, hi, sir, DV 2020, still waiting on the appeal with a lot of patience and anxiety. Me too. And I hear every day from DV 2020 selectees and good luck plaintiffs that have that same situation. Patience and anxiety. But do what you can to cope with the anxiety, okay? Because anxiety is not healthy, you know? Jonathan says, hope you're good and all your teammates. I am good. And I think my teammates are good too. Yeah. Abduram says, do we as plaintiffs have the right to know the number of cases and their arrangement in order to have the idea of our chances of obtaining a visa if the distribution respects the ascending order? No, you do not. And also, there's a good reason why you do not. No one knows that. The State Department doesn't know that. They have not lined everyone up on a sheet to say they're going to give visas in that order. And it does not make sense to expect that when, let's take good luck. They're from 81 different countries. 81, well, probably 75 different embassies. How would they do that one at a time when it's 75 different embassies? You know? Like everybody, like, I mean, if they did it that way, they would do like the first person and then the second person. Oh, not yet. None of the embassies can issue the second person until the first person's issued. Oh, you can't do the third until the first and the second. It just wouldn't work. I think a lot of DVs assume it's case number rank. Never in the history of DVs have they been interviewed or issued in the order of case number rank. It's just, that's just one factor. Okay. Embassy location is going to be a big factor. Okay. I understand why you're asking though. Okay. I don't know how to say your name, Mr. Minaj. I need to learn that. Why is it taking so long for the decision of the court? Courts take a long time to make decisions. That's how courts work. Is it just a procedural thing, or are the judges waiting for any signal from the Department of State to continue with the decision because it is very suspicious all this time and waiting? I do not think that they are waiting on a signal. I think it is a procedural thing. I think that there are legal issues at play that are not simple. And getting 2 out of 3 judges to agree would take time. And then putting that rationale and reasoning on paper would also take time. They can't just issue an order that doesn't explain their positions, right? So this is probably going to be at least a 30-page order, but it could end up being 100 pages or more. I think Judge Mehta's initial order in Good Luck was over 100 pages or right at 100 pages or something. So it's a lot of work to issue an opinion, especially when it is a novel issue that's never been before the court before, which is more than one of the issues before the court, 4 or 5. One more. James left for now. Yes, he did. Oh, I was just going to ask him where he's from, what embassies he's waiting on, stuff like that. What's life like there? What, I don't know. Maybe Omar, you could be the guest next time. We'll figure it out. Nadia, want to get your advice on the DV 2023 delays. What are happening in certain embassies like Addis Ababa? I know there has been some lawsuits filed before with your help, like the Tesfaye lawsuit. That's true. Tesfaye was filed in DV 2022, and I think it did help move things at Addis Ababa. I think at this point, it would be premature to do a lawsuit. But it never hurts to look at see what's going on. So I appreciate you asking the question, and let's look and see what's going on. Okay, share screen. This is a page called Visa Statistics. If you go into Google and just type in monthly visa statistics, there's IV and NIV. IV is immigrant visas. We scroll all the way down to 2022, and the last one that's available is December 2022. They haven't released January's yet. And then we have all the embassies. I'm looking by post and category, post and class. So we go to Addis Ababa. 19 DVs is all they issued in December. That is pretty bad. Uh-oh, I'm not doing my sharing right. There we go. Immigrant visa issuances by post, December 2022. Addis Ababa, 19. That is not good. Okay. For comparison, Abidjan issued 1, Abu Dhabi 20. That's shameful because there's a ton of Iranians that are waiting for that embassy. Accra did 28. Algiers did 207. That's respectable. Almaty did 36. Amman 25. Amsterdam did 4. That's pretty common. There's not a lot of demand for people to leave the Netherlands to come to the U.S. Ankara did 48. That's shameful because of not only the Iranians, but also the Turkish. There's a lot of Turkish DVs all waiting for Ankara. Ashgabat did 6. Athens 2. Auckland did 1. Bangkok did 19. That's surprising. Beirut did 1. That's shameful. Belgrade 4. Bishkek 90. Bucharest 1. I'm not going to go through A through Z, but you can see, you can compare embassies, right? Let me go. Next question. But to wrap up, Nadia, I think it's premature to do a lawsuit for unreasonable delay or any State Department policy at this point in the DV year. The only lawsuits we filed so far for DV 2023 selectees are lawsuits for like when they have they can't access the DS-260 to complete it, and the procedure is they're supposed to go to the embassy for a PIN so they can give that to KCC, and embassies don't always cooperate. So we sued Ankara over that, and we got the PIN. So we will do a lawsuit for a procedural delay like that. This is a general answer to that question, and we get a lot. Nadia says DV 2022, but it was dismissed due to COVID. I don't know if anything was dismissed due to COVID. I did see, however, that there were some improvements made because of it at other embassies. Would starting a new lawsuit help? Okay. Sometimes lawsuits have indirect benefits. We saw that with DV 2022 in a way that we've never seen it before, because the State Department actually issued more DV 2022 visas than Congress allotted, right? Congress said no more than 55,000, and I think they did like 56,000 or something. They went over. So the lawsuits that we filed, UAO, KR, TESFA, and the lawsuits that others filed, Beau Jabbar by Charles Cuck and Jesse Bless filed 2 cases, I think, in Kentucky. All those cases together, I think, worked in tandem to pressure the State Department to actually administer the program. I am hoping that the State Department feels compelled to issue diversity visas this year without being sued. So let's wait a couple months, see what happens. James has a bad network, unfortunately. Next time, James. Patrick says, good evening, Curtis. No movement recently released March 2023 visa bulletin. Any hope on family preference applicants in Africa? European countries have cleared their backlog. These are two questions. The no movement on the visa bulletin for family preference categories is caused because the State Department is not seriously issuing family preference category visas. So, of course, if they've got these people that are already waiting for those visas, they're not going to move people they're not going to cause the visa bulletin to give them more people that are waiting for these interviews, right? Because that would increase their backlog even more. And they want to they're trying to artificially lower their backlog, their immigrant visa backlog report. And the funny thing is they can't even do that because it just went up like 8%. So we're not going to see movement on the visa bulletin for family preference categories until we see the State Department abandon the NIV prioritization scheme, the scheme where Secretary Blinken is prioritizing students and visitors on behalf of the U.S. Travel Association over American families until Secretary Blinken stops that, or a judge compels him to stop it. There's two judges that can do that now, Reggie Walton in the Navid case, or Judge Kogan in Sonny Santos and Wilson. All four of those cases are our cases. I'm not aware of any other attorneys that are in court challenging the NIV prioritization scheme. I wish more would join us, right? Like, if you're an attorney and you want to start suing the State Department, call me and I'll be your mentor, because we need to do that. More attorneys, more people need to fight back. Okay. European countries have cleared your backlog was the second part of your question. I think that's true with immigrant visa backlogs, but that's not related to that's separate from the visa bulletin question, right? Elmer says, how many good luck plaintiffs remain after some of them got their visas? If I remember right, it was 11,000 families were plaintiffs and 1,000 families got their visas. So there's like 10,000 families, with each family being a little bit more than 2.1 people per family. Maybe 2.2, something like that. So, however, a lot of people their lives have changed since then, and they're not interested in moving forward. Some have passed away. Tragically, because of the number of plaintiffs, I learn almost monthly that one plaintiff has passed away. So, but also people change their mind, decide to immigrate other places. So, or they get another path to immigrate here, right? So they marry a U.S. citizen, or they get an employment visa or an investment visa, or they just become a student and say that's enough. So it's impossible to know that number with precision because it's changing. What's always happening there. Okay, so that's all the questions, which means that we're going to end early. Unless somebody wants to sneak a question in. Nobody wants to sneak a question in. Yesterday in the United States was Valentine's Day. Happy Valentine's Day to all our Let's Talk Immigration viewers. I hope that somebody told you Happy Valentine's Day if you celebrate that holiday. I hope they gave you chocolate if you like chocolate, or flowers if you like flowers. That's all I have. So until next week, episode 16, next Wednesday. Everybody have a good week, a good weekend, and we'll talk to you later.